Fnatic. Game number 1 in the best of 3 series between Fnatic and 3D Max here at the ESL Major League. Starting to the left side in blue, we're having Ace of Spades for Fnatic on Brightwing. Frats is playing Stitches in this game. KSL playing on Tyrande, Lowell on Illidan, and Shinobu on Vala. To the right side, it is the Polish team in red with Leo from Korea on Rega, Nika on Tacita, Shaihu on ETC, ADRD on Asmodan, and Yova on Zeratul. Very, very interesting bans that we had in this game. We had actually Fnatic starting the pick and ban phase with a ban on Uther, and that of course put a lot of pressure, especially on the healers for both of the teams. And 3D Max did a very smart move. They reacted with a ban that allowed both of the melee assassins, Illidan and Zeratul, into the game, the typical bans that we're having in Europe right now. And they banned Malfurion, so that put a lot of pressure on both of the teams to secure their healers. And we have Rega picked by the Polish team, and on the side of Fnatic it is, as you can see, Brightwing. The mid of the map, not contested by the way, because Stitches, if you go up against Stitches on Black Hearts, you usually don't try to rush the Watchtower because you know that one of those hooks can really land you in a lot of trouble. ADRD is playing Asmodan, and while we've been talking about him on Asmodan already a lot in the recent past, you always try to combo your Asmodan player with one hero that has a bit of area of effect damage, as for example Tacita does with his Storm. Tacita lands the first Storm, gets the entire minion wave very low, and then you try to farm just a bit of damage on your Q. So in this case they don't even contest the top chest, they don't worry about that too much, it's more about the farming for them, and Asmodan gets another couple of Q stacks. The way that this works is pretty easy. The first talent we're seeing on Asmodan is in these days always the taste for blood, and once you kill something with a Globe of Annihilation, then you increase your damage permanently by 2, and you can farm up ridiculous amounts, like 400 damage 10 minutes in additional. That is absolutely nothing that is very difficult to do. If you're really on top of things, you can farm even more than that. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. So at the beginning of the game with an Asmodan comp, you usually try to avoid team fights, and you don't fight too hard. You hold the lane XP as much as you can, and you try to farm with Asmodan as many lanes as possible. And this is one of the reasons why he's currently at the top of the map. He's currently right here, and he can now farm the mid lane, and he can also farm the top lane and get the stacks there. And then in the late game, you can really do thousands of damage with a simple Globe of Annihilation, and that's exactly what they're aiming for. So the late game is really what they're trying to get here. And for Fnatic, we're having a different comp. Illidan is one of the best heroes currently in the meta, and they have that. They don't have a lot of support. They are relying heavily on Brightwing, and of course to a certain extent on Tyrande with this. Tyrande comboing very well with Stitches too for hook and stun, and nice moves against ADRD. He of course has very little chance of escaping that. Gets a few more Q stacks in, but that was a really nice first blood. A very nice wraparound by Fnatic, going through the Watchtower range and trying to hook another one, but in this case Hook and Lunar Flare don't work together well because one of the creeps was like only hooked in. But I guess, well, that creep certainly had it coming. So now we're having level 5.5 and 1/4 down in favor of Fnatic. They know that in the early game they really need to execute a lot of pressure, and that's exactly what they're doing here. Brightwing on level 1, by the way, going for the Arcane Precision instead of going for the normal drive that we see oftentimes from him. We're having a sustain build on Stitches with Chewy Food and Amplify Healing. Could of course still see him deviate into a hybrid build then later on with the Slam Talons on 13 and 16. For Tyrande, it is the Ranger's Mark on level 1 and the Healing Wall on level 4. Ranger's Mark trait is great when you're playing with the Stitches because you always try to land as many Lunar Blaze and hook comps as you can. Illidan with a normal combo on Shadow Shield and Immolation, like the 2 standard talents that we see on him. And of course over here we're gonna see First Aid for the Illidan player. At the bot lane it's still like Ace of Spades against Shaihu. These are the 2 players that don't really have a lot going for them right now. They just need to be soaking experience and a little more than that. We're having a multi-shot build being played by Vala. And looking a bit more at the setup, There comes another attempt to stack a few more damage points on Asmodan's Q. But looking at those, one of the things that we're seeing on the side of Rega is of course the healing totem on level 1. Farsight on level 4 is a great skill. Every 30 seconds you get vision of an area for 10 seconds. So in terms of having map control and knowing what's going on, this is an absolutely invaluable talent. We're having, on the other hand, then Conjurer's Pursuit, Healing Ward and Storm talent on level 7 taken by Tacita. But more important on all is, of course, once again Asmodan. He's going to play a crucial role for the team, a very important one here. And we're having another Q talent taken already. And by now Asmodan is really just starting to do damage. You could see that already. He can easily drop one of those lanes, and that is a problem that Fnatic has to deal with at some point. Right now we're having also on level 1 again for your Regeneration Master chosen on his hero. Nice hit against that, also gathering up even more damage on his Q, and we're gonna have a quick look at that. The damage on the Q is currently 92, so an additional 92 bonus damage that you can see right over here for Asmodan, and he is just increasing that. Now we are already at 102, so doing really well with this, and this is one of the things where Fnatic has to be careful that they don't lose the game in the late game because of Asmodan just maybe one-shotting their heroes. Team fights, that is really where Asmodan really wants to show his area of effect skill, but the more the game progresses, the better for him. Right now, coins on the map are of course dominated by Fnatic. With nice! Once again, Shaihu being attacked here, but healed already. And Leo and Shaihu, they're trying to take as many of the small camps as they can, but in general, coins are gathered up a lot more by Fnatic. They have the option of just controlling the map right now because they know that in the early game their comp is the superior one, and they're doing exactly that right now. The second Ghost Ship Bombardment is hitting the 3D Max, and in this first game here at the ESL Major League, we're having the top lane now attack. Of course, those Ghost Ships follow a certain pattern. We are usually attacking the outer ring of a map first, which is of course then dropping this fort, and after that, when all of those structures in the mid lane are done, the top lane is being attacked as we see here right now, and then we are moving with the Ghost Ship Barrage down to the bottom lane where the next few shots are gonna hit before the inner circle is being attacked after the exact same pattern. So it's always mid, top, bottom. And down at the bot lane, we're having more and more coins being gathered up by Lowell and his team. They're still going for it. They're trying to play the objectives for now, and it's a very smart choice since they know that in the early game the damage dealer, which is Asmodan for 3D Max, is having quite some problems and can't really put all that much damage out. So this is one of those things that is going to happen then in the mid stage, that 3D Max is really starting to look for those fights, especially now that they have Blackpool as one of the additional talents, which makes it even better to have those stacks on Q since Asmodan can do so much more damage. And with the heroic abilities in the game, Ancestral Healing, Archon are being used here. Of course that burst heal on Rega is going to be a big part. Once again the damage, and you can really see that this is starting to damage the teams quite a lot, or at least like the waves. We're having also Stage Dive being used, which is a great talent when you're going for split push attempts. Leo is being attacked, tries to heal himself, but that hook and Lunar Blaze Calm took him down, and that drops of course 6 coins into the hands of Fnatic. Very well played here. And they are already trying to get the cow as well, but Shaihu is already moving back here. The talents, on the other hand, that we are seeing for Zeratul on level 10's Void Prism, we're having for Fnatic at this point in the game, we're having Emerald Wind instead of Blink Heal, so not really going for that full heal build, but going for the Disengage instead. It is Putrid Bile, Starfall, Metamorphosis, and Rain of Vengeance that was chosen by Fnatic as their heroic abilities. And if we're looking at the 13 talents, the Sprint on Brightwing is a result of Rewind being chosen on level 20. Rewind was in the past by Blizzard changed from level 30 to level 20, and this is why Brightwing players are trying to figure out what their preferred talent is on level 13 now. Sprint is one of the best ones that you can get at this point. Relentless on Stitches is going to help him a lot in the later stage of the game then. And we're having now the Lunar Blaze talent taken by Tyrande. And interestingly enough, Spell Shield on Vala. Apparently afraid. Oh, the stage dive up to the top to the boss. It's an immediate rotation as 3D Max now hits level 13. And with that talent, they are starting to contest boss. So that's exactly that split push potential that we've been talking about. Shaihu is being attacked! Oh, and here comes that Globe of Annihilation doing damage. Ancestral Healing was used as well as the Healing Ward, and they've been able to keep the cow alive. The counter is still going full ham here. And we're having another globe hitting, and you can really see that we are closing in on the 1000 damage. ADRD by now, in terms of like stacks and extra damage, we're looking at 208 for him on his Asmodan. That is pretty decent. It's not like the best scenario. We've seen ADRD with a lot more damage at this point in the game. But he's getting another one in, and that's of course another 10 damage already. So well done by them, contesting boss, but they're still 2 level behind. I don't think they're too worried about that. It's 2 kills against 0, and Fnatic knows that they have to press the issue. These fights are going to end up just like snowballing a bit in the face of ADRD and his team, 3Max, if they reach the late game with even more stacks on Asmodan. But right now Fnatic is still extremely strong on the map, and they're trying to use that to their advantage. March of Sin was chosen as a level 13 talent on Asmodan. We're having the Feral Lunge on Rhaegar. Another globe stack, trying to go for that at least. Over here it's the Shrink Ray on Tacita. We're seeing Wormhole used on Zeratul, and that is starting to make Zeratul also very, very fast on the map, just like blinking in, blinking out, dropping his double singularity spikes then on level 16 with the double bombs. Right now we can only rely on one of them, and the cleave is doing the damage of course as well if you execute it properly. Once again the full damage, and we're seeing like 800 damage already being done by one of those globes. And once again it's also of course those additional coins on the map with the chests, and the bottom chest is being contested right now. Ace of Spades in a bit of a pickle. LOL is moving in, but there comes, yeah, Ace is hit by one of the globes of annihilation, by the 5 versus 5. I'm not quite sure if they really want to fight that already. 3Max needs to retreat for now. If they lose Shaiku, then they will lose a lot of coins. Yova is already dead. Shaiku is moving back, and there was a pretty nice Void Prison that they had there. Freds, does he have the cooldown to hit maybe another hook? Nope. Not really likely. Not a single coin turned in by 3Max just yet, and we are seeing, well, we're going to see soon, the 4th Ghost Ship Barrage by Fnatic. They have that right now, and this of course starts to attack the mid lane now. The rotation is now happening. Mid lane structures are being attacked. Top lane, this is where we are currently looking at a push from 3Max with at least the creep rate that we've been taking earlier. So right now this is going exactly as predicted. The early game domination by Fnatic, and they're doing an extremely nice job with this. And of course that is something that 3Max completely expected as well. For them it's all about Asmodan right now. They need to make sure that Asmodan gets his damage in, and ADRD is by now at 260 additional on 11 minutes in. He's starting to really farm that well, but in the early game I think he could have done even a bit better. I've seen ADRD having great damage at this point in the game, but it's only 10 minutes in. The problem for them is that they cannot continue like this. They lost already the outer circle of structures, and that's not really a big deal, but now that it starts to threaten the keeps, this is a different story. They need to start taking those fights, and this is not going to be easy for them at all. Oh, ADRD is being attacked, he got hooked in, and now he's getting dropped, and down goes Asmodan, and that is bad news. He's supposed to be the one that stays alive. That ancestral healing just hit a bit too late. Nika is moving in now too, but Nika is, they turn around and they drop him. Tacita is gone, and Fnatic now with 17, nearly 18 versus 16, can take boss easily. Down to the bot lane, we're having Shaiku 100% beef, and he's going straight in on his ETC and trying to maybe take 1 or 2 of the structures down. Now he's going for the turn-in instead. Do they have enough coin to go for complete turn-in? Yes, they do. That's going to be the first one. And since there is one tower already more than half health, or below half health, it is going to drop the fort. And that will give them a bit more experience, but they're really highly dependent on Asmodan, and so far they didn't really get a single kill in there. It's 5 kills against 0, and it's going to be interesting to see how exactly they are planning on defending the rest of the lanes, because they need to really start taking those fights. Another complete wave, 1000 damage by now on the Q with the Black Pool, thanks to the 294 bonus damage that he has farmed on his Globe of Annihilation. But this is still starting to get tricky. And the turn-in, by the way, was not completed. Leo and Shaiku have not completed the turn-in. And the boss is now starting to attack the top lane, not being defended against. Here they go in again with another good move. Oh, the creep being taken down, the hook not hitting one of the heroes. But even more Q damage now being farmed. And now we have Fishing Hook taken, double blood for blood at level 16, 1 blood for blood on the side of 3D Max. They're having the double singularity spike, and they're really starting to do the damage against Frets here, together with Asmodan getting his shots in. But that boss is starting to take down the keep right now. It's probably not going to be able to do that, but with a double creep wave behind it, it should be. I guess Asmodan will move in and drop one of the globes over here. The problem is that another turn-in, which they are getting, is going to drop at least one of the keeps, probably more than that. That was a really, really nice wave to get for the extra damage. We're talking about 320 now. But the next turn-in that we're going to see for Fnatic is going to drop 2 of the keeps. It's going to drop 2 of the keeps. I mean, this one is already like attacked. There's nothing outside around it anymore. This one is half down. So they need to really start doing some damage here. Asmodan needs to go into these fights and drop those globes of annihilation and really do damage. Because at this point, Fnatic is playing a great game with the double siege giant camp. 4 siege giants in total at the bot lane, pressuring in that hard. And every single structure they take down right now is going to help them a lot. The globe doing work here, but also not getting any stacks with that. And here comes another turn in, and that's the attack onto the mid keep already. This one is being dropped, so the first keep falls. Fnatic just playing the objectives perfectly. They know about the early game advantage that they're having, and then at the same time they are aware that they can win it just with objectives alone. And this, oh, I think the keep might actually just barely stay alive here. They might be able to save this keep for now. No, it goes down. So it's both of them. Both of the keeps go down, and level 20 is just around the corner for Fnatic now. Level 17 versus level 19. Another globe and another couple of stacks for ADRD, but I fear they are already too far behind. 5 kills against 0, level 20 now, soon to be on the board for Fnatic. They have a lot of coins that they can turn in. I don't think it really works for the next tribute, not tribute, but of course for the next chip, but it's going to be close. To just give you a bit of an idea what's going on here right now, the next, well, I think the next Ghost Ship Barrage is going to drop the bot key because one of the towers is already gone. This one is below half health and the wall is already gone as well. And then the one after that is going to finish the core off. So this is a super tricky situation. And here comes ETC, not hitting anything, by the way. The globe dodged completely. That's just horrible for 3D Max, and they need to win this fight. And they are level 20 versus 18. There come the Nexus Blades. Foiledon, down goes Asmodan, the main damage dealer, already out, and they are just wrecking everybody. Lowell with the Nexus Blades can chase them down. He has 20% increased damage, and he also has a slow on his outer attacks, which is great for him. Hardened Shield taken, rewind on Brightwing, and Illidan, he can jump in once more, and he's going straight for Leo. 2 heroes are already dead, a third one dying, and they want to end the game right now. 3 heroes down, they have the 20s, and they are just moving past the keep. They can go straight for the core here. This is looking great for Fnatic. This first game, the strategy that was used by 3D Max just not working at all. The draft was not a bad one. The idea behind it was absolutely legit, but right now Fnatic just played this absolutely perfect. They played the objectives, they were winning the fights, and they took 3D Max down on this first map. Very, very well played here. Blackheart's Bay, still an absolute massive map for Fnatic, and they take the lead in the best of 3 here at the ESL Major League against the Polish team. So really, really well played what we saw there from Fnatic. So that was an absolutely amazing game by them. And it looked a bit one-sided, which it kind of was, but the draft that was behind this was actually not a bad one. 3D Max had an idea there, it just didn't work out for them, since they never could get Asmodan in a position where he really changed things. Fnatic playing a lot of, executing a lot of pressure, that worked very well for them. Game number 2 is of course going to come up in just a bit. We're going to jump into a short break, and once we're back we're going to have the next match. We're going to be back as soon as the draft starts. So guys, see you in a second with the next game here at the ESL Major League between Fnatic and 3D Max. That's not the one that I was looking for. Okay guys, this is a bit weird.
Okay, sorry for that, but apparently there is a problem with my overlays. Guys, I have to edit that real quick. I'm not quite sure, but there was apparently a change that was not being used by that. Be it as it may, I'm gonna be back in just a second. Yeah, we'll have to go through that, but apparently OBS didn't save a few of the settings that I put in earlier, and therefore we have to go through that real quick. So I'm gonna do that in just a second, and then we're gonna be fine. So sorry for that, but yeah, we'll be back in a bit with the next game here. Okay guys, so game 1 ended in favor of Fnatic, and we're looking at the second game now. Sky Temple is the map that the teams chose. We're just waiting for the match to start, or well, more importantly, we're waiting for the two players to get ready, the two teams to get ready with their players. Fnatic is still hosting, so they're still on the left. But yeah, the draft hasn't started just yet, but we're seeing 3D Max already readying up. Players at... there we go, alright. Okay, and well, there we go. We have 3D Max versus Fnatic, game number 2, and this time first pick, first ban for 3D Max, so it's immediately in ban on Illidan, and that's why we're most likely going to see a Zeratul being banned as well, unless Fnatic has changed their lineup a little bit, or the idea of how exactly the draft should go in their opinion. If they don't really fear Zeratul anymore, then they might ban something else. One other thing to keep in mind here, we're having Sky Temple. I'm not quite sure why the map is not selected here. It should have been, but apparently, like for some reason the map wasn't added. Be it as it may, we're having Sky Temple being played, so that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind when we're talking about the draft here. Another thing that's also quite important is that 3 Max actually has not lost yet in the Major League. I'm not talking maps, we're talking, of course, matches. It's all best of 3 matches, and so far they have won all 3 of their games. Now against Fnatic, they are down 1 game, and Fnatic has lost 1 best of 3 series so far. They won 2 of their 3 games that they played, but they lost against LDLC, the new team of We Are Not Prepared, the Illidans. Fnatic actually thinking really hard about this ban, so it's for them apparently not an easy ban on Zeratul, but instead they are banning out Stitches. They are saying we would rather deal with Zeratul than deal with Stitches here. And Yobe played Zeratul in the last game. Apparently Fnatic was not really impressed. So for 3D Max, it is Zeratul as the first pick. And Fnatic can now go into Tacita, which is always a nice hero to have if you're going up against Zeratul, and could pick together with that one of the damage dealers. Unless they have something else that they really prioritize highly here. Maybe they are a huge fan of getting ETC into the mix now, because ETC is banned and he's one of the main tanks. And when we're talking tanks, ETC is, after Stitches, probably the most desired tank these days. Then we might see that now as well, because the chances that 3D Max are going for Stitches, if they get the chance, for ETC here, if they get the chance, are very high. So for Fnatic, it's just now the question, okay, do we value our DPS over anything else? And no, it is ETC. They go for ETC, and together with that, they will now either take one of the damage dealers, or they are simply going and start to get Tacita to have something else that they can then use against their opponent. But it is the damage dealer, it is Sergeant Hammer, especially of course on this map, great, and that also goes for ETC. With a stage dive, which is extremely good for the split push. We're having 3D Max at the same time now going for their next 2 picks, and that should give them Vala as one of the damage dealers, one of the heroes here. Fnatic, with them picking ETC, I would expect that 3D Max is going to pick one of their tanks a bit later down the road. Probably it's going to be Muradin, but they have a few options there. Chen is being picked by a lot of teams as well. Chen is really nice, of course, now as a disruptive force with the Wandering Hack. That's what most of the teams use him for. Not quite sure how exactly 3D Max is going to play that now. I am pretty sure we're not going to see Asmodan here, because usually on Sky Temple you have very, very fast games, or like faster games than on other maps, and for Asmodan to really come into play, you need a map that is bigger, so that where the games last longer. Nazeebo is of course another great hero for this map now in particular. We're having for 3D Max the damage dealer as already predicted, with Vala being chosen, and they prefer Uther here as their hero. For Fnatic, that allows now to go into Nazeebo if they want to add the additional damage to their lineup. They still have the option to go for Tacita and could then choose a healer later on. Problem is once again that your opponent might go into double healer, but since we don't have a single healer banned out in this game, there are still quite a few options that we are seeing for Fnatic. Brightwing is a great hero on the map because of his mobility, and then Rewind can be used on level 20, not on level 13 anymore. But let's see how exactly they're going to play it with this. We're having currently Fnatic still going for Tacita. They're going for Tacita. They are getting the Oracle into this now. And what are they going to choose with it? Are they going to go for Nazeebo, and are they going to risk not getting the preferred healer if 3D Max really goes into a double healer lineup? I don't think that they would have too much trouble with that, but Nazeebo is a good choice here, or would be. Of course, you have to try and keep him alive against Zeratul, but I feel with the Tacita in the team, they can always do that. But they might just like prioritize their healer over that. That's of course a personal preference there in the end. And they go Chen. They don't go for a second DPS hero. Instead, they actually choose Chen and pick another great tank away from 3D Max. That's the problem that I was talking about earlier for 3D Max. Which tank are they going for? And by now, their options are kind of thinning out. Muradin is the most likely pick. But we didn't really see a lot of teams that struggled with that problem so far, because most of the time we don't have one of the tanks banned out, so you have still quite a few options. Fnatic is going for a healer. They seem to have enough damage with Tacita, and then together with Sergeant Hammer, at least that's what they're relying upon here. A very, very tanky lineup that they're having now, very beefy you could say. And 3D Max is going into Arthas instead. That's an interesting choice now, going Arthas instead of Muradin, because that already shows that with Arthas they will be able to do quite a bit of damage. Arthas was changed in the last patch, and he's not as sustainable anymore as he was before, especially the Army of the Dead suffered quite a bit. So right now that leaves them with a decent tank, but a tank that deals more damage now and is less tanky than before. Arthas was kind of unkillable at some point, so this is an interesting lineup for 3D Max. I didn't really think they would go Arthas here. It's the hero that we usually, if we see him in this meta, we usually see him together with a second tank. So we see like a dual tank setup, and then the team is trying to just like go in and do some damage with Arthas, have a second frontliner there, and then get another one in as well. Fnatic at this point now, they are still looking for their healer. They take their sweet time, which is actually surprising to me, considering that they should have known what they're going for here already. I don't think that the Nazeebo pick is really all that surprising, so interesting that Fnatic takes this long to go for the final hero here. I personally suspect that we're going to see Brightwing on this map, but while there are other options, they could go also into Malfurion even and try and use the route on the temple platforms if they are going to fight for that. Of course, with Malfurion, they also have the problem against 3D Max's Zeratul. There's the option to go into Rhaegar as well, so they can really take their pick here. And it's a pretty nice, like if it comes to split pushing, maybe ETC is enough for them. If not, then there's a really good chance that we're going to see the Brightwing picked. But yeah. Yeah, they're taking really a long time for this one. Oh, now we have the refresh problem again, so it is going to be Malfurion. And, well, Sky Temple, now the map appears. Interesting. Alright, so going into the second game in just a sec. We're having that starting up as soon as all of the players are ready, and I think they should be by now. Yep, everybody's in here, selecting their heroes, and then they are ready to go. 6 of 10 ready. It looks like we're waiting for Fnatic right now, especially... No, we're actually waiting for 3D Max. Leo from Korea is not ready up yet, the only one that is missing. And as soon as I have him, we can go straight into the game. So guys, get ready. Game number 2, Sky Temple. And of course the thing to keep in mind here is that we have 2 more best of 3s after this one. And if Fnatic loses this game, if it is actually a 3D Max that wins on Sky Temple, then we're going to see a third map between the 2 teams as well. So going into game number 2, we're going to find out who's going to take it here. Match starting right now at the ESL Major League with Fnatic going up against 3D Max once again. Game number 2 in the best of 3 series here at the ESL Major League between Fnatic and 3D Max. Starting to the left side, we have Fnatic with Ace of Spades on Malfurion. We have Lol on Chen, Shinobu and Sergeant Hammer, Frats on ETC, and Kesil on Tacita. To the right side of the map, it is 3D Max, the Polish team with ADRD on Nazeebo, Shaihu on Arthas. We have Leo from Korea on Uther, Nika on Bala, and Yovo is playing Zeratul in this game. This is map number 2. We have a 1-0 lead for Fnatic in the best-of-3 series here. So for ADRD and his team, everything is on the line here. If they lose here, then they will lose their first best-of-3 in the ESL Major League. So far, they have been successful on all of the play days. They've defeated 3 teams, and Fnatic is now their 4th opponent. It's an interesting draft that we saw there once again. The Illidan ban by 3D Max was immediate. Oh, by the way, like, oh, I like that old school style. Going straight for the well. That was a really nice move. Look at that. 3D Max with an immediate burn down on the well over here. And that is amazing. That was pretty cool. That was a really nice move. And you might ask yourself, why exactly did they do that? The reason is very, very simple. Once the well is down, the lane is in so much trouble. Pandas need water. Yeah, pandas need water too, that's true. But that was a very, very nice move. We actually saw things like this in the early alpha when a lot of, like, Asmodans, for example, would try to bombard the well, the fountain at the beginning of the game to really put pressure on the lane. And that's exactly what we saw with that. A very, very cool strategy that we haven't seen in quite some time. Top lane with the tri-lane for Fnatic is starting to push in. The bans in this game were Illidan, banned by 3D Max, and we had Stitches actually banned out by Fnatic, so that's one of the reasons why the tanks were fought over in this game and why suddenly Shaihu is playing on Arthas as the sole tank for his team, since we are having Chen and ETC picked by Fnatic. They prioritized those two very highly and got both of them. On the other hand, then the healer, the weapon of choice, Uther for 3D Max, and as I already mentioned before, in this current patch, Arthas is not as tanky as he was before, but he is still very good when it comes down to dealing damage, especially, of course, as Frozen Tempest is doing a lot more, the Frost Aura. Both of the teams currently closing in on level 4. We're going to talk about those talents in just a second, but the temples are ready, the first ones that is, and Freds is in the top left. A bit trapped out there, needs to, yeah, can of course power slide away if need be, but doesn't even have to use his mana here. We're having one temple in the mid lane by Leo from Korea, already taking a lot of pressure against Fnatic at the top lane. Lowell is trying to tank the damage. Shinobu is there, wall of zombies hitting 2. Multi-shot build on Vala with Nika using his arsenal for the team damage, but we are seeing also a few healing wards. Actually, we have one healing ward only, or one team with healing ward only. Fnatic is the team with 2 healing wards, not a single one on the side of 3D Max, and that's one of the reasons why they have to move back here. So that gave, of course, Fnatic a bit more sustain that all that 3D Max could really muster up there. And the mid lane is still that battle, level 5 versus level 5. We're having on Uther protective shield taken, and Arthur's going for block and frozen waste with a reduction on the mana costs, and this thing really starts to do damage. Frozen Tempest is doing a lot of work here, and in the mid lane that shrine goes to 3D Max in this case, and the damage already against the structures, shooting that in, and the entire front line is already open. That 4 is very much exposed. We're having for the Panda Regeneration Master used on level 1, and then also the Swift Reflexes on level 4 by the Brewmaster being played here above the side of Fnatic. At the same time, at the bot lane, it is Yovo with the Regeneration Master talent and the Gathering Power on his Zeratul. Gathering Power already used on Nazeebo as well, of course, and the Death Ritual on level 1 for Nazeebo. Whereas we're having a bit of an attempt by Freds to maybe stun out the heroes that are trying to go for the Siege Giant Camp, but not successfully. It was just like roaming the map. And experience here is, of course, everything. It's one of the reasons why ETC is such a great hero on the map, together with Stage Dive as the heroic ability, because he's always able to just like take the experience on one of the lanes, soak it up, and then jump down. Nika was in a bit of trouble there, but he gets away in the end. Level 7 hitting faster now, just by a few seconds for 3D Max. They're already with a Mule in the game, and that might be the talent that we're seeing. Yes, it is, from Malfurion. Mule is great on this map. All the maps where the objectives start to attack the structures of a team directly, these are maps where you want to have Mule. These are maps where Mule is great, and this is of course one of them. So here in Sky Temple, I guess we're not going to see that camp taken right away. They're probably going to keep one of the heroes over here just to wait until the bottom temple is announced and then time the camp properly. The same over here. Well, not quite the same. They're taking it earlier than that. But yeah, we're having Leo from Korea at the top lane still with Ace of Spades, no level 10 talents, therefore ETC already orientating himself a bit more down to the bot lane, where we're having Shinobu just waiting on the Sergeant Hammer. And, well, he can also move in now and sustain some damage with the first aid. He could go and try and take a position at the bottom temple as soon as possible. We have the temples announced. The camp here has by now also been captured, so we are having the two camps meet each other in the top lane. But the camp that we're seeing for Fnatic is nearly down already. And that's one of the problems. If you don't time that properly, your opponent gets the chance to just take that down. That's exactly what they did. Bot lane Mule is already there. Level 9, a bit faster for 3D Max, and they're starting to move in. They could maybe even get level 10 in this fight if they drop a hero or two. Fred is already waiting there, and with Shinobu in position on the platform, he can siege up, doesn't have to just yet. AD already moving in at the same time. 3D Max at the right side is starting to make their move. The root is great though, but Lowell and Freds, they're extremely low already, but with Uther down, this is a problem. No more heals for them. A healing ward, double healing ward, actually doing a lot of work for Fnatic, and now that the level 10's hit, this is amazing. Level 10 is there. The stun against Ace, and he gets dropped too. It's a 1 versus 3, and they are trying to drop Kesel as well, and they might get him. Oh, so close! Kesel shields himself in the last second. Might have died there. That was very, very well done by 3D Max. They are now they are more than a level ahead of their opponent. Taking down the structures here and just rotating over. The temple down here is still not completely empty with ammunition. Very well done by 3D Max. They reached level 10 first in that fight, and that snowballed very fast in their favor. Now Fnatic is in trouble. All of the structures are being attacked, and then the temple is taken again to make those shots do even more work. Very smart moves. And of course what Fnatic had to do after this was just like move to the top lane and the mid lane to try and bridge that gap in experience as best as they can. They take Mosh Pit on ETC, not Stage Dive. An interesting choice for this map. Usually what you see here is Stage Dive. It actually surprises me a lot, because Stage Dive is the talent on Sky Temple. We don't see Mosh Pit by ETCs too often here, but they go for the Mosh Pit. They have Archon. We're seeing Wandering Keg, Tranquility, and Napalm Strike, and they're starting to move in. It's level 12 versus level 11, and the 10 Talons also there, of course, with the Army of the Dead, Reign of Vengeance, Void Prism, and Ravenous Spirit. The fight for the Giants is already happening. And who's gonna get them? It looks like Lowell really wants them, but we're having 3D Max now moving in. They cap the Giants, and they're trying to drop one of the targets. Do they get the stun in? Shinobu is in a great spot here. Wall of Zombies trapping him and Ace of Spades, but 3D Max is moving back. They know that they have an advantage. There's literally like zero reason for them to fight here. They can just like take level 13 by taking a few of the minions down, and we have a rotation to the bot lane by Fnatic to at least drop one of the forts. They're going for that. And with the fort dying, we have actually an entire rotation from the 5-man army of 3D Max to the bot lane. There could be a Void Prism if you really want to go for it. Ace is already there as well. Howling Blast hits Shinobu. His thrusters are down. There comes the root, and Lowell is pushing everybody back with a keg. Very well done here to de-push and make sure, of course, that they are getting away there. So very, very nice retreat by them, using their heroic ability on Chen to just get a bit of breathing room. Level 13 versus level 11, and with a double sprint and also spell shield taken, we are seeing now the boss being attacked, and Fnatic might try and contest that. Vision is there. Fnatic knows what's going on, but can they stop it? ETC is not going to be here for a long time, and they will not be able to deny the boss. Suddenly it is again the Polish team that is pushing, and at the perfect time, because now they will also get the Siege Giant camps, and there are 2 temples on the map. They might be able to capture both of them. At least they will be able to do a lot of damage either way, either with the temple or with the boss at the bot lane together with the Siege Giant camp. You cannot ignore that. There needs to be a reaction for Fnatic. You cannot ignore 2 camps like this. It is absolutely impossible, and this is why they are going to lose at least one of the temples, probably both. The mid lane is already being attacked. These 4-man rotations from 3D Max are absolutely great. And in this second game, 3D Max is really trying to tie the series up and force a 3rd game out. Lowell in the mid lane soaking up experience. Everybody else was trying to take down the boss at the bot lane. And we have the rotation up to the top. They're taking just another fort. They're taking the structures. They're not going for the 2nd temple just yet. They don't have to. And now that they have taken down another structure, already the inner circle is being attacked, with another tower being attacked here. And another hard camp is being stolen. Fnatic is focusing completely on the bot lane right now, trying to claim this shrine. And it's doing work, but we're having a 2-level lead for 3D Max. And they can, with a hard camp, now simply rotate over here. And even if Fnatic TPs back immediately, they're going to lose the wall, which is going to put so much more pressure onto them. There comes the first one. Lowell is already back. The rest of the team is there now as well. Only Malfurion is not with them. And what is 3max going to do? They don't have the 16 talent just yet. It's a fight on even talents, and they're just simply moving back. Another Howling Blast to cover the retreat. At the bot lane we're having Malfurion, and Malfurion is living a very dangerous life. He needs to make sure that he gets out of there, and that he gets out of there fast. Ace of Spades with a quick B uses the Hearthstone to get back, and that of course puts the temple now once again into the hands of the Polish team. And they can use that to drop even more structures over here at the bot lane. That's what they're gonna get. 16 talents are now available to them too. On 13, by the way, we had double Relentless on the side of Fnatic. That's amazing. Oh, that's pretty awesome. But look at that initiation. Not the temple taken, but they're going in with the 16 talent, trying to win the fight on the top of this. Nice move by Lowell, pushing AD already back out of the Ravenous Spirit. And they're jumping Yova now. Yova just barely getting away on his Zeratul, but they're still fighting here. And Shaihu is in a bit of trouble, but he moves back, and the Army of the Dead is active. And with the Tassadar using his Archon, it looks like 3max for now does not really want to fight this fight. They're welling up at the fountain. They could turn this around again, and they might actually go for that. They are just wrapping around and moving in, or do they go for the temple? They are trying to lie in wait here. Tassadar's ult is of course now down. A lot of the ults are down. All the ults for 3dmax, but they still have that additional level 16 talent with the imposing presence, which is of course great. Cleanse already being used. Kesel now suddenly being extremely low, nearly stunned out, but the Howling Blast hits, and they're going for it again. Very good ult that we're seeing from Freds here, capturing 3 of them, but the rest of the Fnatic team is now running away, and Ace of Spades is very low, so is Freds. The cow is dead. There's burgers on the grill, and down here Ace is trying to just like TP back, but this is of course not gonna work there. 2 heroes already down. Kesel might die. Tassadar is being followed by a Zeratul, and yep, Tassadar dies as well. 4 heroes dead, 7 kills against 1, and now we're just having another move by 3dmax straight towards those camp, taking the camp right over here. 16 is a mile away for Fnatic, and they don't even take the Siege Giant camp. Instead, they are moving straight for the keep and saying like, alright, this keep is ours, and they move in and take that down. They won't be able to core it here. They don't have enough time on the death timers, but they will be able to take the keep. France is thinking about moving in, but he can't really do it. So on the way back now, they can still take the Giants. And it's not that like the Giants are going to do any damage here, but it's more important to really take them away from your opponent so that your own lane is not going to be pushed by this. That's why they are rotating through the mercenary camps now. And of course, with the 17 talent for them, 20 is later on going to be an easy reach. Another minion on the boss, which is going another minotaur, what I say, on the boss, which is extremely important. A full multi-shot build on Vala with Blood for Blood and a Battle Momentum also being picked here. If you look at the damage right now, the most damage against heroes still by Vala with a 31,000, but of course with the multi-shot build, a lot of that is area of effect damage, not really single target DPS. 25,000 in a Zebo, which is also great for him. Siege damage, that's where Hammer excels, but also Vala. And in siege damage, it's not only the structures that count here, of course, in case that you didn't know. It is the minions and the mercenaries as well, which is one of the reasons why Vala usually ends up to being like at the top of things too, especially when you go for a multi-shot build, because that just does so much for that. The heals, pretty significant here. Malfurion with 33,000 heal, and then we have the 15,000 on Tassadar thanks to the healing ward that he has, but 16,000 on Uther, so he can't really keep up with that, but they have the sustain that they need in those fights, and they're using it. The boss is being attacked now, and it's 16 versus 16 talents, and with the additional talent there is currently Executioner taken. We're having also imposing presence, pressure point on Chen, and they're trying to go for another fight. Yes, 3dmax is going to try and fight again. They're moving in already. There comes the bubble. They're trying to isolate a hero, and they go immediately for Lowell and for Freds, but there comes the attack, the turnaround. Lowell is pushing everybody back, but he dies. He was not in the reach of a healer. Freds gets only 1 hero. He only gets Leo with his mosh pit. Kesel is moving back with the dimensional shift. The cleanse was already there, and here comes the lockdown against Kesel, and they drop Tassadar. 2 heroes dead. They might get Ace as well. Ace! Yes, Ace goes down too. Ace is down, and now suddenly it is again a 5 versus 3, and 3dmax moves in to finish another keep. the temple is still active. It is still at the top lane, and they can take it whenever they want. They can rotate to the hard camp first and claim that too. Freds is playing with fire. If he gets locked down by a Howling Blast, he might die here too. He's trying to take Leo down, and they nearly were able to make that happen. But Shinobu is trying, of course, to do as much damage as he can. It's just not really working for them. It's not enough heroes that they can do anything about it. They're moving back, trying to well up once more. And just to give you a bit of an idea, we're having on Arthur's 24,000 damage dished out already. That is more than most heroes that we're seeing on the side of Fnatic, and it's even more than we're seeing on Zeratul. So that's the change that we had with Arthur's, that Arthur's does now a lot more damage with all of his talents, and that is pretty damn awesome. But of course he's not as tanky anymore as he was before, but he works out very well in this case for 3D Max. They're trying to go for the top lane, 19.5 versus level 17. And, well, Shaihu, they're actually moving in. They're trying to fight this again. And Nika is now coming into play once again on this Vala with a Frost Shot, trying to slow everybody down. Shaihu is moving in as well with a Howling Blast. The Frozen Tempest Aura is doing work. There comes the Ravenous Spirit, and Lowell is pushing AD already back again, interrupting it. Nice Void Prism and the barrel. But it looks like 3D Max might have a bit of a problem here really sustaining this. Shaihu is already extremely low. Nice attempt to drop Freds, and they get him. They get Freds. They save Shaihu at least for now. Kaysil is once again very low and nearly dropped, but it is Vala that dies first. Arthur's had to move back. A second kill now though against Tassadar. And this is again a 4 versus 3. But Fnatic moves in. Ace gets dropped by Zeratul. And now that the 20 talents are on the board, the Nexus Frenzy on Vala is of course going to do work later on. But for now she's down. The problem of course is that Zeratul now has his rewind and can use that, and they are taking Lowell as well. This is a complete wipe that we are seeing, and at the same time all of the lanes are pushing in against the core with so many catapults already attacking it. This is game. The GG called, and this is going to be the tie in the best of 3 series with the third map coming up now here at the ESL Major League. 3D Max taking Sky Temple against Fnatic. Great job by 3D Max here, very, very well played, and really making especially, of course, that snowbally aspect of Sky Temple working in their favor. Winning that first fight that we had down there when level 10 hit was really important, and from that point on they nearly played a flawless game. Very strong rotations on the map to take down the structures as well, not greedily trying to take every single temple, but instead moving in, dropping forts, and then getting the temple shots a bit later than that. Very nice control also in the fights itself, so very well done here by them. Congratulations to 3D Max. We're going to see a third map, of course, announced in just a few minutes. So guys, stay tuned, and in just a little bit we'll be back with the next game here at the ESL Major League between Fnatic and 3D Max.
Okay, boys, next game is, well, we have the draft. Sky Temple is being played again, and Fnatic is going for the same strategy that they used in game number 1 when it comes to the draft itself. They're going for a ban on Uther. And 3D Max, of course, they banned one of the healers in the first game, and that didn't really work in their favor. They got, I wanted to say that they really got the comp that they wanted, but they didn't really get the game they wanted. There seems to be a... Oh no, okay. Okay, that was a bit weird. But yeah, so now we're having suddenly Illidan banned out, and Fnatic takes therefore Stitches. It's interesting to see them go for Stitches here. 3D Max has the options to go into Zeratul again, but it really looks like Fnatic is not very afraid of playing against the Zeratul or against the over Zeratul. At least on the first map they didn't mind, and the second either. The thing is, of course, that on the second map they then lost horribly, but that's also a very snowbally aspect of it. Sky Temple is the map again, and that is, of course, a bit of an issue here right now. So, yeah, we're seeing the same maps too often, in my personal opinion. I think that teams should not be allowed anymore to pick maps that have been already played. That would give us a bit more variety in maps and then also in playstyles. I can understand that teams prefer certain maps, but I think that it's a bit too much right now. So 3D Max goes for the healer immediately. They're going for Rhaegar as a first pick again. Fnatic is most likely going to play Brightwing here. Now that they could play Malfurion together with Stitches. Brightwing is a very good option for that, since you can go into hook into Polymorph. With Brightwing, you're of course going to try and time the roots like accordingly. Oh, Rhaegar Tassadar already taken, so they really want to keep one of the melee assassins alive, don't they? Fnatic probably with Tyrande as well. I think Tyrande and one of the DPS heroes would probably be pretty good for them, unless they want to go into Zeratul, which they actually have the option right now, which is an interesting touch to it. The Tassadar on the side of 3D Max is going to make the Zeratul's life a bit more difficult, but you could go into something like Zeratul and another DPS hero here, if you want, or if you are willing to give up Tyrande. But that's actually interesting. The way that the draft goes right now, Fnatic certainly has a few options how to handle the situation, and combo between Zeratul and Stitches is a really strong one. They go into Vala here, one of the DPS heroes, and ETC. Wow. No Tyrande just yet, no Zeratul yet either, but they pick once again that double combo with ETC Stitches. That is just so damn popular. And still have options to go besides the healer for Tyrande if they want to. That would give them quite some damage, but they could also choose to go into Nazebo here. Pretty cool draft for them so far. 3D Max could go into... 3D Max at this point is going to choose their tank 5th, for the 5th place. Anything else wouldn't really make sense. Fnatic is not going to play 3 frontliners, so you can go for a DPS hero right now, which should be Sergeant Hammer or Nazebo. Could be Sergeant Hammer and Nazebo. And if we see Zeratul, then it's going to be Zeratul Hammer or Zeratul Nazebo together with probably Arthas again, or another tank of their choosing. That's what they can, what they could go for now. But yeah, these are definitely the options that they have at this point. So it's just a question: do they want to have Zeratul or do they not want to have Zeratul? That's the only question that they have to answer. Everything else should be kinda self-explanatory at this point. And they go Chen. Oh, of course, Chen. Yeah, with no ban, they can go for Chen instead of Arthas. They could go both, of course, as well. But yeah, they go Chen as the tank. I personally don't understand why they choose it on the 3rd position and not on the 5th, because Fnatic is not going to play triple tank. That's just not going to happen. That surprises me. That surprises me really, to see them go for the Chen now, unless they want to play a 2nd tank. If they want to play Arthas as well, then it makes sense. But if not, then it surprises me, just because there is no need to take Chen just now. There are no real counter heroes to any of those that they could pick right now that they should be afraid of. So Sergeant Hammer or Nazebo should be the choice. And then it's still the question: do you want to have Zeratul, yes or no? That's definitely a bit tricky for them right now. And that dropping I wonder what they are deciding to do here. Like, I get the feeling that they have some kind of plan to go for something a bit out of the usual, out of the ordinary. But so far they didn't do it. They go double healer. Alright, double healer with this. That leaves Sergeant Hammer, and that leaves actually a lot of the heroes up. They go for Tyrande. And I guess Brightwing. I guess with Malfurion, this is going to be Brightwing. Okay. I like Fnatic's lineup. They are maybe a bit low on the damage side, but they have Tyrande for damage. They can play Stitches with the Slam build now that we have ETC in the game. Maybe still with a Fishing Hook, but still they can play Slam build is viable now that they don't rely on Stitches as a single healer. So that is tricky. And 3D Max, I mean, they do not have any kind of real range DPS, Tazada, Storm aside, so they're going for Sergeant Hammer. There's no Zeratul in the game. Double healer with this. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting match. This is going to become a very interesting one. I think Fnatic is pretty happy with that draft, actually. And yeah, I guess we can start the game. Oh, actually, like, one of the players not ready yet. Yova, apparently. It's an interesting game that they're playing right now, an interesting comp that they're running with, but yeah. I didn't really expect them to go into a double healer formation for this, but against a double tank, it can really work for them. I mean, they have Chen, they have the heroes to keep them alive, they were forcing Fnatic into Brightwing. Not a bad hero on this map by any means, but of course weaker now that he lost Rewind on level 13, and now can access it on level 20, but that's a 7 level difference and pretty difficult to get. Yeah, we're waiting for one of the players still. While we're talking about this, the videos are going to be up on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/colortv. If you missed some of the ESL Major League games, most of them are already uploaded there. If you want to see North America playing against Europe, I just uploaded the videos from the weekend where we had Tempo Storm actually crushing through the European scene and getting into the final of the Go4Heroes tournament. There's the first team there from NA that actually participated on the European server in one of the tournaments, and that was also a pretty sick final that we saw there between them and 3D Max. If you haven't seen those games yet, you can head over to youtube.com/colortv and watch the games there. The ESL Major Leagues are over there too, and in case that you are interested in tutorials for Heroes of the Storm, you will find quite a lot of those as well on the channel, and also quick tips. I actually uploaded one tutorial today for Muradin, so if you are interested in playing the hero that is currently in free week, by the way, Muradin is in free week now, so if you need a build and you need a couple of like talent options depending on how the situation in the game goes, you should check the video out. It's actually like pretty short, so you will get the most popular build right now in the competitive scene, which is also probably the strongest on him, but with a few options depending on what your opponent chooses for composition, especially now that Illidan is such like a strong hero. One of the things that you can do are a few variations on the talents in Muradin, and suddenly Illidan might not be as scary anymore. But well, the game here is of course the third game, the deciding map between the two. And Sky Temple the map again. Okay, yeah, Sky Temple is again the map. Yova is still missing. Not quite sure why, but yeah, we're still waiting for Yova, and I think he just joined the game. Let me double check. I see 10 players, but I get no sign that Yova joined. It's 7. Okay. It's once again that lobby thing that we have there. Blizzard really needs to tweak on a lot of those things, but I mean, it's still a beta, so a lot of those things will just like come into in time. But yeah, I actually got my Reyna today on level 10 too, so by now I have, let me see how many level 10 heroes do I actually have. 7 level 10 heroes, working on my 4 level 9 heroes that I have right now to make that 11. Yeah, Asmodan being one of them. But probably my Nova is actually like pretty high, but I don't own her, so I can't play her. Yeah, but my Reyna reached level 10 today finally. Unfortunately, I have to say that my Reyna is not as good as I would like it to be. He's a really fun hero, I like him, fun to play, but my Reyna is not as good as I would like to. Okay, so we are still waiting for Yova to join. Teams are just saying that Yova is not here yet, which I can see. I mean,
And apparently 3D Max doesn't know. Oh no, Yoba doesn't know. And Ace just like writes randomly in the game, Kaldor is bald. Lies. He's lying. I hate these guys. What? ADRD responds with, he has hair under his headphones, but you can't see it. Like, excuse me? Like, the rumors that Kaldor has no hair are completely unfounded. Like, you haven't seen my back yet, alright? So. Okay, I hate these guys. We might actually jump into another break if that takes much longer, because right now we have no idea what's going on with Yoba. I literally have no clue where he is. And it doesn't really look like 3D Max knows either. He didn't join up yet, so maybe he... Oh, there he is. Yoba has joined the lobby. No explanation or nothing, but he is actually there. So, yep, let's jump into the game, I guess. Apparently, well... If you're ready, is up. Yep, there we go. So, game on, a deciding map between 3D Max and Fnatic here at the ESL Major League. And guys, I hope you're ready. Let's see if once again 3D Max can win it here, or if it's going to be Fnatic taking the best of 3 series. Welcome everybody to the third game between 3D Max and Fnatic. We are looking at Ace of Spades on Brightwing to the left side of the map here on Sky Temple. For the second time we're seeing this map being played now. This is the third game and the series is tied. Freds is playing Stitches, Kaisil, Tyrande, Lowell on ETC and Shinobu on Vala. To the right side of the map, Nika on Sergeant Hammer, Leo from Korea on Malfurion, ADRD on the Rhaegar, so a double healer comp for 3D Max, Shaihu on Chen, and Yoba is playing Tacita. Double healer, they of course have a lot of sustain, playing it with a single tank here. At the same time we are looking at the double tank combination that is being played by Fnatic, especially Stitches and ETC combo very, very well. Already the rotation into the mid lane, since they are afraid that that fountain is being eliminated again at the beginning of the match, which is this time not the case. But yeah, pretty interesting moves there actually from both of the teams so far. We're having in the mid lane now Nika, Leo from Korea and ADRD forming a tri-lane that is starting to push things in. But yeah, the combo between these three heroes is absolutely amazing. Like, it is such great synergy that we have there. Stitches is hooking a target, and then of course Kaisil is trying to drop it with a quick stun, and ETC is of course power sliding through the target and using his face melt to push it back. But as you can see here, that's actually like a lot of things that happened here at once. First of all, Nika activated his thrusters to get away. More importantly though, what really kept him alive is the resistant talent that he chose on level 1. So the slows, while you're on siege mode, all of those slows have been reduced, and that was the reason why he was able to escape here. But ADRD doesn't have that, and he's dropping very low already. Lowell was not in position though, and with him not being able to power slide through the opponent, there was just nothing that they could do to lock Rhaegar into place again. But there's already a lot of damage that they dish out, and that's of course pretty scary. We're having Brightwing, by the way, played again with the arcane precision that is being used here. So that's something that Ace already used in the map that we have seen on Blackheart's Bay earlier, which Fnatic was able to win instead of going for Vibe. Oh, the attempted hook and stun once more. Freds and Kaisil really trying to make this combo work. And ETC always with them. And ETC skin here, by the way, absolutely beautiful. That master skin is totally worth it. Those 10,000 gold, yeah, hashtag value. We're having right now with the double healer comp the first healing ward on Rhaegar, of course, on level 1. Oh, the pressure against Yoba up at the top lane. Rotations from both of the teams, but it's mostly Fnatic that is trying to soak a bit more experience, especially since Ace is now moving into the mid lane and not using his phase shift yet. At the top shrine, there's a battle going on, fighting for the top temple. Lowell and Freds are starting to move in there together with Kaisil, and we're having Ace of Spades claiming the temple in the mid lane. Experience-wise, they're both roughly on the same level. Shaihu is in trouble, got pushed back by ETC.
And that was again the comp. Shinobu had to move back. He's going for a multi-shot build here with a composite arrow on level 1 and then Arsenal taken on level 4. So really trying to just like get those grenades in for the extra damage. The hooks by Frats this time missing. KSL always ready with another stun, but not getting them just yet. Shaiko, Yove, Nika and Leo are still fighting there, but keep in mind that the mid temple is by now also taken, having the shots against Fnatic once more. And a slight experience lead that we are seeing for 3D Max, and of course the big deal on this map is that if you are gathering up those experience points in the early game, then you might be able to hit level 10 down in the fight for the second temple wave. And if that happens, then your team or the opponent's team is in trouble, because that snowball effect really comes into play there. What usually happens is that the team that can't reach level 10 during the fight and get access to the heroic abilities moves back and tries to soak the top and the mid lane. But for that to happen, you really need to have very fast reactions, or already been so far behind that you don't even try to contest the position in the first place. ADRD is just looking what's going on the map, is trying to make sure that nobody's being taken there. Oh, Malfurion actually taken out. Okay, caught here in the mid lane. 6 versus 7, and therefore the first kill on the side of Fnatic. But, well, with both teams now on level 7. Ooh, interestingly enough, we have no... Yeah, of course, we have no Mule this time taken by Fnatic. They don't have access to Mule with the heroes that they're running. Mule dropped in the mid lane already by Malfurion, and Sergeant Hammer killed at the top. Sorry guys, those rotations from Fnatic really doing work, being a bit slow with catching up phase. Down at the bot lane we're having Lowell and Yova trying to go up against each other, and of course the bottom temple is going to be dropped very soon. It is the fight for the hard camp that we're seeing on the side of Fnatic to the left, with Shinobu assisting Stitches for now. And no moves towards the camp to the right side. That Bruiser camp still not taken, and that temple at the bot lane is going to be announced very soon. Leo and ADRD are starting to take those giants now. But yeah, the big problem that we are seeing at this point for 3 Max is that they won't be able to hit level 10 in the next fight, and Fnatic is already way ahead in experience thanks to them killing 2 heroes, and more importantly denying the lane EXP to 3D Max since they killed the heroes on the lane. So that's the more important part this early in the game. The death timers are just not enough to really give them a huge advantage, but every single experience point really counts. And either 3D Max is gonna go in and take it right now, try to fight as long as they are playing on the same talent, or they're just like abandoning the idea of going for the temple entirely. And that looks very much like what they're planning to do here. They're moving into the mid lane and trying to drop one of those towers. Level 10 has just been hit by Fnatic. That gives them the heroic abilities, with Mosh Pit again being used and not the stage dive by ETC. Fnatic not really liking that talent too much, I see. We're having Emerald Wind being chosen, Putrid Bylers there, there's Starfall, and also Rain of Vengeance on the board. To the top lane, Ace of Spades, Leo from Korea, they're all getting in position here. And... what? Not quite sure if that was supposed to be in all chats. Yeah, probably. I'm not 100% certain what exactly was going on in the bot lane that really confused him this much, but while we have that 4 being attacked, with level 10 talents now also available, Shaiku is moving in and trying to best the forces of Fnatic here. We're having a hook dodged already, ADRD with the ancestral healing available to him now on level 10 is moving in now too. Wandering Keg, of course, the option for Chen, and we're seeing Napalm being used on the tank up at the top lane, where Nika is currently trying to push against Shinobu and getting the extra experience. We're having out down at the bottom currently the 3-4 man lane for Fnatic. Levels are exactly the same. It's actually really interesting how well 3D Max did, considering that they were not able to get in a position here. They had no chance to do anything with that. So very well done here by them. Oh, and the attempt to drop another target, which they didn't get. So we're having once more Nika moving into position down at the bottom. And with all this pressure that we're currently seeing right now, of course the idea behind the build or behind the lineup that we're seeing for 3D Max is to just like have the maximum sustain to keep especially, of course, Chen alive. Tassadar is working with that as well because he has that great shield at his disposal. And then the ancestral healing. And in the back, Nika is supposed to really do the damage just with his Sergeant Hammer and the Napalm being used. So that's one of the things that they're really trying to work for here.
The experience so far is actually looking really good for 3D Max. They're doing great at soaking up the experience on those lanes. When we're looking at the lineup for Fnatic, they have with the Stitches and Tyrande combo a great tool at their disposal. Lowell has a very disruptive hero here with ETC that he can use in team fights. Boss is of course something that both of the teams are very interested in right now. And yep, at this point we are already seeing Fnatic moving as 4 on the map with only Brightwing split off to the top lane. He can always jump in with a phase shift talent and then make it a 5 versus 4. Temples are active at the top and the bottom. One camp taken, Fred's going for the hook, but not hitting anything but the Siege Giant here. The jump on Nika, and he's one of the most crucial heroes for the 3D Max lineup, since he needs to be the one doing the damage in the backline. Level 13 for both of them now. We're having a Distortion Beam taken, Relentless on Chen, which makes it so much easier for him to dodge, especially than the stunts that we're seeing from Tyrande and also from ETCs. That's really important talent to have. Shinobu is losing a lot of HP thanks to the Napalm being used over and over again. At the top lane, Shaiku and Ace of Spades are still fighting for their temple. And look at the experience here. Level 14 versus 13 now, even with the fort at the bot lane eliminated. There is still that massive lead in experience that we're seeing for 3D Max. So Fnatic has to be very careful. They lost the first map already, or the first time that they played on Sky Temple they lost the map, and now they might lose it again. Vision already taken. They might lose again if they are not careful. I mean, the game is of course far from being over. Vision taken again, and we're having the Uber Rockstar taken on 13 together with Lunar Blaze, Relentless and Sprint. Sprint, the alternative 13 talent that Ace of Spades is taking on Brightwing. Now that Rewind is not an option for Brightwing on 13 anymore. It's actually not an option for any hero on 13 anymore because Blizzard changed in the last patch to a level 20 talent. Oh, the boss being attacked down here, Starfall being used, Rain of Vengeance as well, and the pre-pushback. But nice what we are seeing here from Shaiku, moving everybody away. They're trying to claim the boss and they get it. Vala is getting killed as well, and that Wandering Keg making the steal on the boss possible. Fnatic doing the work, and 3D Max is just moving in to take the boss and maybe even taking down Lowell here. He is very low already, able to get away. And yeah, Yoba has to work in this communication. Somehow he's writing an all chat the entire time. I'm not quite sure that's intentional. Custom games allow you to all chat with your opponent. You don't have a pause function just yet. I'm pretty sure that Blizzard is going to use that very soon in custom games as well, but for now it's only the all chat that you have. In the quick matches in Hero League, of course, all chat is not possible. Nice hook against Shaiku, but not the hook that they really need here. It's not really the hook that they need. They need something against maybe Sergeant Hammer or Leo. Level 16 talent now as well, and they're trying to drop the keep with this. At the top lane, that's where we're seeing Ace with a split push potential. The boss is nearly down, but now Siege Giants are coming into play as well, and there's still the Sergeant Hammer in the backline. Ace of Spades moves in, goes for his Emerald Wind. The hook not landing because of that. They were trying to hook one of the targets in and then isolated with the Emerald Wind, but they didn't get that chance. Level 16 versus level 15, and that means that we're having Blood for Blood, we're having Hovering Siege mode. We're also seeing on the side of Malfurion the Hardened Focus on level 16, whereas Rhaegar went straight for his Blood for Blood. Brewmaster's Balance on level 7 is now accompanied by Boulder Flavor on level 16, and the double Storm second strike is being chosen by Tacita here. Camp after camp being taken again. Another 11 seconds until the temples are going to be up on the map again. And that's what we're seeing right now. Bot line is one temple that is going to be claimed by 3D Max. They're moving in. 1 kill against 2, but an entire level lead for 3D Max. And very nice rotations now in the middle of the map. Having Fnatic looking for a fight. Fnatic are looking for a fight, and they are trying to take it now, but the rotation is happening already. They're moving away. Shinobu is there, going to unhorse Chen and also slowing them down. They're rotating again up to the middle. Up to the top, trying to push Ace of Spades out there. 16 versus soon to be 17. Oh, there comes the hook. ADRD is immediately being attacked, and here's the Starfall as well. Putrid Bile is already used, but Chen with his Wandering Keg is doing a lot of work here. In comes Ace of Spades, and with all those double healers and the heals flying around, it's just so difficult for Fnatic to kill anybody here. They get the drop against Leo, and down he goes. A nice use of the mosh pit by Lowell as well. So suddenly it's a 5 versus 4, and this kill was really important. That was exactly the hook that they needed.
Frats with a perfect hook, that one target that they can drop easily, and they did get it. Now we have once more the attempt to drop another one, but already the dimensional shift being used by Tacita, and 3D Max is starting to rotate down to the bot lane. The problem for Fnatic is that there are already a few camps attacking the core, or will very soon if another wave is moving in right now. That's one of the reasons why Ace of Spades is now currently moving back and trying to make sure that he can actually take that on. Up at the top, a fort has been eliminated by the temple, and at the bottom temple, where Shaiku is still doing his work, is attacking, of course, once again the mid lane. Oh, Shinobu so close, nearly dropped by Sergeant Hammer. We have them moving into the middle once more, where now 3D Max is gaining even more ground. It's that Brightwing moved to, like Brightwing had to move back to defend the core, and that opens up the mid lane to 3D Max, and they take more damage towards that keep over here and drop this as well. 2 keeps already down for Fnatic. Very well played here. One of the reasons, by the way, why Brightwing chose Arcane Precision on this map in particular is that split push ability is of course only strengthened as long as you can use that. You can get up more experience, it's easier for you to split the to push the lanes, or to de-push, depending on what you need to do there. But yeah, 16 talents now with Blood for Blood imposing presence, Shooting Star, having Fishing Hook taken, and also in addition to that, Critterize for Brightwing. So all these talents that you really, really want to have, especially of course when it comes to trying to use the Tyrande Lunar Flare together with the Stitches Hook. Fishing Hook can really not only save your team, but also drop one of those important targets, like let's say for example Malfurion in the last fight. But well, 3 kills against 1. The team's just rotating very, very smartly, and Yova again with the all-chat. I'm not really quite sure if he realizes that he's riding an all-chat. I'm pretty sure that he doesn't get that. Once again, the last well, and yeah, he's right, last well. There was this joke for long. Oh, that hook into the wall though! There was this joke for a long time that once that you killed all the wells, your opponent is gonna die for sure, and you win the game. It was more about the wells than anything else, but that was like in the early alpha. We have Shaiku now moving back, Frats is there, Shinobu, they're in hot pursuit, but it's a 5 versus the hook! And they might be able to get him. Oh, nice move by Vala as well, going for the ult. Shaiku is moving away and is wondering, Keck, they're actually trying to turn the fight around. Oh, and here comes the ult from Leo from Korea, and the healing numbers on especially Malfurion, they are incredible, of course. The 37 and 35,000 together with the 18,000 passive, and that's just so much shield. But Leo gets dropped again. These hooks for Fred are really saving Fnatic's ass at this point. Doing very well here. Lowell is moving in. Shaiku might not be able to get away, actually, considering that he already used his Wandering Keck, and Lowell is trying to move in with another power slide. The next hook, he jumps away, but he's being dropped now too. The temples are already active though, and are starting to get their damage in. And at the bottom lane, we're having Nika still in position. Core is already being attacked. There are 3 catapults that are attacking the core at this point, and this is why Ace of Spades has to move back and deal with those. That catapult in the back, by the way, completely trapped. We're having camps now taken by the remaining 3D Max players. In experience, or like in general, Fnatic is actually not too far behind. There was the entire time a slight lead for 3D Max, but now Fnatic is able to negate that. The problem that Fnatic had though is that even with the kills that they get, oh, they got Rhaegar. Oh, they got Rhaegar. Even with the kills that they had, the big problem is just simply that they are losing all their structures. They only have 1 keep available still, and that is a big problem for them. That's actually horrible for them, because with that in mind, there's very, very little that you can do when it comes to pushing yourself. You need to like move out somehow and get those that push in, but then we always see Brightwing moving back because he needs to defend. And that's just not the ideal situation for you. Getting the boss here is a big step towards map control, and that's what they are trying to get now. This keep so far has not been touched yet, but once it's getting attacked, then it's going to be a very, very big issue for Fnatic. Because if you have to defend against 3 lanes pushing in, then you're in trouble. Already 3D Max moving down to the bot lane to meet the boss here and trying to push that as fast as they can. Already going straight for that. Sergeant Hammer is moving in now as well, and with that hovering siege mode can do of course a lot of damage to the boss in particular. It's not going to drop the keep. So yeah, we should siege mode actually taken. Yep, but there it is, napalm as well. It's actually just barely able to get one of those towers. That's all that's going to get, not even the second tower being dropped here. The boss is already dead. And of course, another camp now taken towards the left side. Level 20 is now ready. And that means we're having a double Bolt of the Storm, one on ETC and another one on Bala. Whereas the Hardened Shield on Stitches is going to give him more survivability. And we are seeing currently Tyrande with Rewind, whereas continuous wins are chosen for Ace of Spades, Brightwing. But the temples are of course the important issue. Also the camp up to the top lane here. We're having a bit of a rotation from Fnatic. They're most likely going to try to rotate up to the top because they expect this to be taken. And there is Shaiku already. Yeah, there comes the vision. And the temples are going to be active once again. If both of the temples are taken by 3D Max, they win the game right here. If both of the temples are claimed by them, they win the game. But it doesn't really look like they are able to do that. Brightwing is moving into the middle to get the first one and get those shots in. This turns the fight up here into a 4 versus 5, but Brightwing can of course use phase shift to jump into the battle again. Nice moves by Fnatic, getting that camp now, while 3D Max is busy de-pushing the top lane. Yeah, well, they still need to take it. Oh, the hook not hitting anything here, but Shaiku is moving in. Here comes the rest of the team, and there comes the move against France, pushing him into the team. Brightwing jumps in with a continuous Wind Devour already being used. Starfall is now activated as well. Shaiku doesn't have that anymore. ETC lets them dance. The party animal once again unleashing the beats. The double front line here is sustaining a lot of the damage, but we are having still low and Feds moving back on half health now, and this is 3X pushing in once more. They have a very mobile jumper lineup now, and they're going straight for the top to try and claim one of the temples here. And especially the Napalm is super strong. Of course, we have the level 20 now also for 3D Max, with Nexus Frenzy being chosen. They're having the Hardened Shield on Chen that he can use right away, but especially Nika does by now do so much damage. It is insane. You just need to make sure that you don't get hooked out in this situation, but that temple is doing so much work. I mean, look at this keep over there. That is the last keep that they have, and they're going to lose it, and now the temple is going to start attacking the core directly. The core is being attacked, and these waves, this is not kidding around. That's 3 catapults that are already pushing in here. Time is working against Fnatic. 3D Max, the Polish team, is in a great spot. They have not lost a single best of 3 in the Major League yet. Ace goes down. Ace goes down, and this is bad news for Fnatic. They might lose it here after taking the initial game on Blackheart's Bay. It's a 5 versus 4. The storms are everywhere. Shaihu is moving in again, and they're just hunting them down one by one. Nika is getting dropped though, a very important move now. The core is down to 62%, and now the mid lane is being captured by 3D Max. As I said, the temple can finish it all. If they stay here long enough, then the game is over. Shaihu is just pushing everybody away so that they can claim the temple still. 30% on the core, and we're having actually Tazada moving in. Rhaegar is down. He goes for the push. The catapult can attack, and there comes the Archon, and he's going straight for it. Fnatic is moving back. They're trying to stop him, but Shaiku is now jumping in as well, and this looks very much like we're gonna see the GG drop any second right now. It is. Oh my god, no! Wow, Shaiku with the last hit is able to hit the core and win the game for 3D Max. Job well done, and the best of 3 series ending in favor of the Polish team here at the ESL Major League.